All right, well, with Laser Team production and everything going kind of nuts this week, you know, had Laser Team, we shot 2 different days on $1 Million Butt. In fact, it was a day that I was on $1 Million Butt and then had to finish there and then go to the Laser Team set for the rest of the night. So, the vlog this week, I didn't travel anywhere, didn't get a chance to do anything that I can show you guys because both of the things that I worked really hard on all week are coming out either a month from now or a year from now. So I thought it'd be a good week for us to do a Q&A. So I asked for questions on the Rooster Teeth website, on Twitter, and on Instagram, because now I have an Instagram account. I thought it'd be great to, I'm trying to get this off by the way. I thought it'd be great to start an Instagram account in 2017 because I'm apparently really with the times. Well, I thought I'd do something fun for this Q&A. I don't know if I can do it ongoing. On the podcast, I was lamenting the fact that there's no 4K camera that has a flip out screen. And Panasonic heard me saying that and said, "You are incorrect, sir." So they sent me this Panasonic G85. It's almost as nice as the one that they sent to Gavin, but I guess once I get 9 million subs, this is the DMC G85. It's a 4K camera. Since the sun just came out, why don't we try our first ever vlog in 4K. You wanna try this? All right, let's give it a shot. There, okay, that's better. I tried to do a thing where it's like I covered the lens and then uncovered it, and it was gonna be a dramatic shift, but it's a totally different lens, so I don't think that worked very well. But look, I think you can see Austin in the background. Couldn't really see it before. It was a little smaller and low resolution, but so let's jump into it. The first question that I have in the Q&A comes from roosterteeth.com, and this comes from Madman Mo, but this was actually probably the most asked question, and that is, what is going on with the technology that is behind the Rooster Teeth community site, the social media aspects of roosterteeth.com? And it's especially disheartening to me that one of the people who asked about this is Madman Mo, because about 6 years ago, we had a really interesting experience on the website, on the community side, where Madman Mo was part of the Libyan revolution. He wasn't part of it himself, but the Libyan revolution was going on, and the government had shut down a lot of blogging sites, but roosterteeth.com did not show up on their radar, so we were not blocked in Libya, and Madman Mo was able to give people information as a person on the ground during the Civil War. So it was a really interesting time, and it was really one of the most memorable things that I can remember happening in the last 15 years, 14 years of the community site existing. We need to get some technology things fixed. Right now, the focus for the immediate future is on the video experience on the website, since that's the lion's share of why people come to the website to begin with. And after that, we're gonna start to unravel some of the problems of the social media side of the technology. And there is a huge challenge there because, you know, we had some developers that developed the initial site, which was not very scalable. Then we had some other developers come in and add to their work. And then we had some other developers come in and try to recreate the thing from scratch. What this has led to is a website that looks like geological layers in time, where there's like code on top of code on top of code, and you can tell what eon of Rooster Teeth it was worked on, you know, just based on how it's commented and how it's implemented. So we are working on it. Mike Quinn, who is the head of technology at Rooster Teeth, and his team, as soon as they get done with some of the video aspects of the site, they're gonna start focusing on it more. And just to give you an idea of some kind of time frame here, I was told that in June or July, that's when work will begin in earnest on the social media side of the company. This is a hard discussion for me to have. I wanna give you a better answer than that, but I hope that you'll appreciate that an honest answer is probably what you're looking for. I don't want to answer it in a way that's just kind of like platitudes or stuff like that. All right, well, this next one comes from Nicole on Twitter, and she asks, Burnie, if you could go back 15 years to just before the first RVB episode, what would you tell yourself about the future? You know, when started Red vs. Blue and I started Rooster Teeth, I had super high hopes for what it could become. You know, I always hoped we would grow and, you know, make a project a year. Probably the thing that I would tell myself is that little thing that you're starting that you hope will generate one project a year for you, it's going to create about 40, 45 projects a year for the entire company and about 15 to 20 projects for you in particular. So you should realize what you're getting into. That's what I would tell myself. Also, just like 25 push-ups a day. That's, you know, a mile run. It's not that hard. All right, the next question also comes from Twitter, from username insert here, also known as medium B4 and 4 and 4. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that genderless person would like to know, did you ever find it hard to act since you're more used to voice acting, or was it an easy transition? How are they different? Actually, I think the thing that's the biggest challenge for acting more than anything else is this. The vlogging stuff, the podcast stuff, anything that's personality-driven content, I think the more you put yourself out there as yourself, then what you end up with is a group of people who know you as you. And so when they see you in a movie, it's almost like when you see your friend in a play. It's harder to have that suspension of disbelief. All right, so this next one comes from Dax on the roosterteeth.com website. He said, you guys travel a lot, and I've always wondered this. If you sat next to a fan on a plane and they showed zero signs of being one, would you prefer them to tell you, or to just keep to themselves and not make you self-conscious about what you say or do? One of the greatest things about this company is that because we make content that we would want to watch, we end up meeting a bunch of people who are a lot like us. In fact, when we first started traveling, it was really cool because we'd go to a city that we'd never been to before, and it was like we already had a group of friends when we showed up there. So please, say hello. All right, next question comes from the roosterteeth.com website, and it's from Paydenadidis. I know since Marcus Laporte was hired, your props and sets have definitely taken a leap forward in quality and wow factor. There's other people affecting this as well, I'm sure. Nice of you to call them out. Travis is one of them. Everyone else in the art department as well. Was there any other single hire that has made an impact like that on the quality, wow factor, or ingenuity of things in the company? The heroes behind the scenes are sometimes the most important ones. We've made a lot of really good hires. There's nobody that has come to work at Rooster Teeth who hasn't been just absolutely top-notch in their job, especially in recent years. I'm just gonna name some people off the top of my head because you're asking a specific question about a specific department, and I'm just gonna think through some different departments and people who've had a big impact. You know, everything that Monty worked on, you know, really took the company to the next level. You know, everything that he added into Red vs. Blue, a show that had been running for 8 years before he started working on it. It's just incredible the impact that he had just coming in with his creativity and his drive and ambition and just everything that he could get done and everything that he can inspire the rest of us to do. A lot of the people that we've hired in recent years have been very influential of helping us scale the things that we started into things that are their own kind of standalone products. I mean, Luis Medina, who a lot of you don't know, who is running the Let's Play network, he's absolutely amazing. Patrick Salazar, who has turned the RT podcast into a broadcast department that now makes about 10 different shows every week. And then Bethany Feinstein and what she's doing with RTX. People you don't see like Ryan Hall and Evan Bregman, who are helping us develop new shows and then figuring out how to program all of our different channels on all the different platforms. I mean, everybody who comes on just really adds in something else. Okay, well, you probably noticed that we have changed resolution back to high def 1080, and the reason for that is because I got a phone call after I answered the last question, and I stepped over that way about 4 feet in order to answer my phone, and I heard a noise. I don't know what happened, and I turned back around, and all I saw were the legs of the tripod disappearing over the side of the roof. The 4K camera that Panasonic literally just gave to me blew off the roof and smashed on the ground down below. Here, look at this. And just in case anyone thinks that in a million years I would ever be disrespectful enough to intentionally break a camera for views or something stupid like that, I would have footage of it if I wanted to do that. If I wanted to, I'd say, oh look, brand new 4K camera, destroyed, gone sexual. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea why I have such bad luck with new equipment. What a bummer. God, what's so stupid? Unfreaking believable. How does a camera blow off? I don't even know, the railing almost chest high. Physically how it got over. Anyway, on to our next question. All right, the next question comes from the Rooster Teeth website, and it comes from Alienated Kate. And she wants to know, is it possible to have an RT podcast with the founders? I love the chemistry you all have. I mean, there's a lot of people who were around in those early days, and sometimes I don't think they get enough credit for how much they helped the company. Jason Saldana is one of those people. Dan Godwin. I mean, Nathan Zellner came on a little bit later, but he was definitely one of the early people who helped influence the company. But in regards to the 5 people who were there at the beginning, would we ever do a podcast together? It is very difficult to get us all in the same room. We did the RVB Drunk Read, which you all sponsored enough first memberships in order to have us release a version of that. So congrats and enjoy that. We do get together twice a year. Now it'll be 3 times a year for the founders panel at RTX. At this point, who knows, maybe even a 4th time if RTX expands. So every few months you'll be able to get a founders panel where we will sit around and talk about how much harder we worked, etc., trying to make ourselves look good. That's basically the way that goes. Okay, the next question comes from Instagram. It comes from Doug Gita, and he wants to know, hey Burnie, would you ever consider carrying the Phantom 4 Pro, or do you think the Mavic does the job just fine at a more portable size? Similar question, also from Instagram. The reason why people on Instagram are asking about equipment is because I posted a photo of all my equipment and the bag that it goes in. Diego B 2001. And he wanted to know, Burnie, I have a question. What is a good drone to start out with? So 2 questions about the drone from Instagram. I'll basically talk about the Mavic in terms of the Phantom 4. The Phantom 4 is great. It has a really great image quality, but I'll show you a picture here. You can actually see how the Mavic and its controller are about the same size as just the controller of the Phantom 4. So while the Phantom 4 I think does produce a better image, I just have to have it be portable. I have to fit it in that bag. So it's really important to me to have something that can just fold up and take with me wherever I go. Otherwise, I just end up not bringing it and I don't get the shot. Okay, let's do a quick lightning round to end this thing up. We'll do 3 really fast questions. The first one comes from the Rooster Teeth website. It comes from Carl Turner. It says, I've been a fan of you and the company for over a decade. Would you ever be the lead writer for a season of Red vs. Blue again? Yeah, I would do that. I like working with Miles and now Joe Nicolosi. At some point, yeah, it would probably have to be, you know, a couple seasons away or something like that, but I wanted to do something for 14. Just didn't come together, but I would like to revisit that world at some point. I think there's some stories in some of the gaps that I'd like to tell. Not something next, but something maybe earlier or in the middle of the story as we know it. Also from the Rooster Teeth website, Mr. Chris Mad wanted to know, was there any point in Rooster Teeth history that you wanted to quit? I actually did quit once. I quit when I stepped down as CEO. I said I was gonna actually take that time and resign then as well. And it was Matt Hullum who encouraged me not to do that, and that he would take over as CEO, which was the plan anyway, because I had done 10 years of writing and directing, you know, the primary show, and I had done also all the CEO side of things as well, and it just got to be a little bit too much. And so I'm glad I didn't do that, but I actually did go through that phase at one point in my life, yeah. And the last question is, from the Rooster Teeth website, did you ever think the Rooster Teeth was at a point where it'd fail? No, I never really thought that, which is really amazing for a startup business. You know, from the very beginning, when Rooster Teeth started based around Red vs. Blue, we never had a single quarter where we ran in the red, where we lost money. I'm very proud of the fact that even as a startup, we ran as a profitable company, and that's just continued into the later years as now we're scaling up and doing these amazing things. No, I'm happy about that. There was never a point where I thought Rooster Teeth was gonna fail. I mean, we fail in lots of small ways, like when cameras fall off roofs and things like that. I'm still not over it. All right, well, thanks for putting up with me this week. Thank you for the questions on roosterteeth.com, on Twitter, and on Instagram. This is gonna be a vlog that goes up early in the week, and then later in the week, we're gonna have a second vlog that goes up on the traditional Friday time slot, and that'll be some adventures that I took with the Laser Team 2 cast that are all in town. All right, until then, have a great week, everybody. Bye.